What is your first thought when you think of astellnkern brand? I believe if you have been in this hobby for some quiet time, you will always recognize astellnkern as an audio player maker. It's the maker of some of the really great DAPs such as the SP1000, SP2000 and such DAPs. But I never know that actually in 2021, they released their own first IM. So hello and welcome to Aftersound Review, and this is my review for astellnkern AK01, which is their first IM that cost around $700. That's quite premium for a first IM, and the configuration is really unique. They are using single dynamic driver, 2 balance armature, and 1 micro square planar driver. What? I've never heard of that kind of planar driver before. And if you take a look at the breakdown from the side from astellnkern itself, it actually looks like a balance armature. Okay, just like usual, I will break down this review from the build, fit, frequency response, sound, and comparison. Well, as expected from astellnkern, for me it still has the unique aesthetic from the astellnkern itself, which is somehow has this triangular shaped kind of aesthetic. You could see that in the faceplate, and there's an astellnkern logo around this part, and you should see that this inner body, I think they are using aluminum both outside from the faceplate and also the inner side, but the inner side somehow has more texture compared to the smooth outer part. The faceplate is really smooth, and also you could see that this is their nozzle. But here's the thing that I recognized at first, it's about their shape. You can see that it is really triangular, that I'm really concerned about the fit. And then they are using MMCS connector with this cable. It somehow looks like a silver cable, braided silver cable, and this is the jack. It somehow feels quite flexible and strong at the same time. And expected for me, the ergonomics is simply weird because of this triangular shape. The only part that really touch my ears is only the ear tips, and trust me, I have tried a lot of ear tips: orthophone, spin fit, final type E, or elastic, or maybe a lot of things like that. I have tried JVC. Nothing could help this because it is the only part that touches my ear, so it will be jiggling easily like this. Let me show you. I have tried to shove them really deep into my ears, but still, when I'm using this while walking, it always moves like this, and it's not really stable, and I don't feel really comfortable with that. Maybe you could consider this as somehow fish-shaped-ish because it's still there, the elevation on the base area and also the upper mid-range, but after that the treble is relatively rolled off. But here's the unique thing, that I find this frequency response to be quite similar to the harmony neutral IM such the tantrum oxygen, but with a little bit more peak in around 4K here. Okay, when it comes to the sound, I have tested this AK01 using my iBasso DX160, this astellnkern SR25 Mark II, and also the SP2000T, and also even my phone, the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. And for me, they are quite easy to drive, so it's not really problematic if you try them using your phone. They're not that hard to drive, and the overall tonality is still quite V-shaped. The main focus of the sound is especially when I hear some band, when I hear a lot of pop music, I will always hear that the focus is mainly on the bass and also the upper mid-range, but the treble itself is more focused on the lower treble rather than the extension of the treble itself. So it's not really extended in the treble area, but in the bass to the upper mid-range, it is quite energetic. So it's still a V-shaped-ish kind of IM. Okay, let's talk about the bass first. It is actually quite good. The bass is punchy and it's fast, but here's the thing, because of this strange shape, I need to really shove them deep into my ears to feel that dynamic texture bass. If not, I don't feel that this is a really punchy IM. So it just definitely depends on your seal and isolation level. But nevertheless, for me, the bass is really well controlled and fast and tight, but it's not really textured. So when I'm hearing dynamic bass from a hybrid driver, I expected to find this kind of bouncy texture in the sub bass, especially when I hear EDMs and maybe some pop music. But in this AK01, I still feel that they sound really fast, that I miss a little bit of that kind of dynamic bass texture. And I'm talking about the vocal, it is somehow more towards upper mid-range focus, so it will not fit for thick sounding male vocals such as Il Divo, Michael Bublé or Michael Bolton, or yeah, Il Divo, like that. It will sound quite thin and not thick enough to be that natural, and then it's somehow not really suit for female vocals like Joyce Chu, Susan Ong or Dinah Krall either, because the texture of the vocal is quite dry and it's kind of harsh sometimes. I'm not saying it is sibilant, but it sounds harsh and unrefined at some tracks. So for me, this kind of roughness, it will suit some rock music, for example like Spy Air or One OK Rock or Bon Jovi. It somehow gives that a little bit of spice and roughness to the rock voice that make it more fierce. But the problem is, it's not really clear either. And the treble is mainly focused on the lower treble, so you can hear some harsh cymbal tracks in some music, for example like percussion in the Greatest Showman. I really cannot hear that song through this AK01. It's not because it is sibilant, it's not because it's overly shining, but it's harsh around that 5 kHz. So this kind of tonality, I feel that it's kind of awkward. I don't really find any kind of genre that totally could fit this kind of sound, because it's kind of V-shaped-ish. It's quite harsh sometimes, but it's not really extended in the treble either. So even though I'm trying to hear rock music that will sound quite fierce in this IM, but I feel because of that treble rolled off after that 5K peak, it is somehow kind of I feel kind of restrained sound. There's kind of fail that makes the sound not really open. And then if we're talking about technicality, I have some concern here, because actually the technicality is not really bad, but it's not good either. But frankly speaking, if we're talking about $700, I mean, there are some really great IMs at this price point, such as the Moondrop S8 or the Audio Clairvoyance. For me, it is way below that level. The soundstage is mediocre, and the easiest thing that I could say about the separation, resolution, and detail level, this sound is on par with some of the around $200 IM or $100 IM. So it's not really that good. I have tried Meteor 6 and I have tried the Moondrop KXSS and the Tantrum Oxygen. For me, the Tantrum Oxygen is almost at the same level with this AK01. But even that being said, I said they are on the same level. I find that the Tantrum Oxygen is still a little bit better, and Tantrum Oxygen is only cost around $270. So I feel really that I cannot really justify the price with this level of technicality. Okay, if we are talking about $200, if they cost around that price, okay, the soundstage is quite nice, and then the separation level is also good, but it's kind of harsh. That harshness sometimes kind of give some harsh coating to the overall sound, so you don't really pay attention to that detail level, even though yes, if we're talking if it's $200 only, it is quite detailed. And then if we're talking comparison, well, if you want to try a really good $700, if you like Harman Target kind of sound that still has that kind of fierce upper mid-range but with more treble extension and much better detail, go to the Moondrop S8. I recommend you, if you like that kind of rock genre, try Moondrop S8. It will provide better separation, better notes attached, and better overall resolution. And then if you want something more soothing, more less engaging but overall smoother and really warmer, just try Medgard Sense Up. And if you want something really balanced that I would like to really recommend you, it's still the Thea Audio Clairvoyant. It's still my top picks if we're talking about $700. Okay, so this is the end of the journey. This is the end of this video. For me, the pros are it's only maybe about the aesthetic. For me, it's quite good and it's really unique to see this kind of triangular shape. The overall build, it's quite good. And the sound is kind of fierce maybe for some rock genre. But if you're talking about the cons, I'm sorry, there are lots of complaints that I need to say in this part. Oh yeah, and I don't really hear that special thing coming from that micro planar square driver. It still sounds kind of BA-ish for me. If I don't know the configuration of this driver, I will say it is just a hybrid IM, one dynamic driver and few balancer matures. And the sound overall is awkward. It's not really extended but not smooth either, so I don't really find any genre that will excel at this AK01. And talking about technicalities, for me at $700 it's simply bad. So okay, I think that's all I'd like to say. If you have any question, please write down in the comments below, and see you next time. Bye bye.